Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Nice to see you all. I'm Laura Zuckerman, President of the Board of Directors of Temple Beth Israel. As you may have noticed, we're beginning to implement some safety measures, and here is another one. I'm going to direct your attention to our emergency exits, of which we have many. There are exits on each side of the bima. This is the airplane talk, as we call it, from the hostesses. Okay. 2 at the north end of the social hall. You see those green lights. And at the back of the sanctuary are the exits to the main door through which you entered, and exit doors on either side of the lobby. There are also 2 exits through the kitchen over there. The fire extinguisher is located just inside the doors to the sanctuary, near where you entered. Please familiarize yourself with the nearest exit to you, which I've pointed out, which you will identify, and which is on a card in front of you, in the pocket in front of you. So be safe and enjoy the service, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to have three-dimensional people in the sanctuary. What? Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, in terms of dimensions. I consider myself rather fourth dimensional, but that's for another time when you're away and I get to sermonize.
And for those of you online, we're happy that you are with us as well. I have pinned in the Facebook comments at the top of the comments a link to the prayer book, the Shabbat flip book, or you can, if you haven't purchased it yet, purchase the Kindle version. It's very inexpensive and easy to use so that you can follow along at home. We are going to begin with Shalom Aleichem, page 24. And let's just take a deep breath. Shabbat is here. Page 24.
So this melody is one that was made popular by Leonard Cohen. I'm not sure that Leonard Cohen was a Boy Scout, grew up in Montreal. In fact, I don't even know what they call Boy Scouts in Canada. I know they call Girl Guides, but anyway. Had a long connection with our community, and we welcome you and we welcome Shabbat with these words.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malchei 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 Elyon Mimelech Mimelech Malchei Amlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Hakadosh Baruch Hu Boachem Lishalom Malachei Hashalom Malchei 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 Elyon Mimelech Mimelech Malchei Amlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Hakadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon Mimelech, Mimelech Malchei Amlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Join me on the Yadadai. Yadadai, 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 Yadadai. Yai, Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Yadadai, one more. Yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, 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 dai.
So there is much to celebrate on this Shabbat. First, while Cantor Bush and I have been in the sanctuary with Dr. Polovoy and with Claudia on the stream, being our technician for a number of weeks, this is the first time since before the new year, before the new secular year, that we have people in the sanctuary with us, and so that's a really wonderful thing, and we're thrilled to have you here. Number two, it is Scout Shabbat, and we'll be having some of our scouts join us virtually in this service in a few minutes to honor them, and probably most importantly on this Shabbat we celebrate the Bat Mitzvah of Scarlett Vandegrift. Hi, Scarlett. And it's wonderful to be here with her family and to be able to celebrate with them tonight and tomorrow. And so I'm going to invite up to the bima to join Scarlett on the bima, her mom and her grandmother, so Jenna Vandegrift and Linda Jones, to join us up here and help us to bless our Shabbat lights.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own way, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Join together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. And of course, Mazal Tov to the Vandegrift Jones family. And you may be seated. We are going to continue in a minute on pages 20 and 21 with Lecha Dodi. But before we do, as is our custom, we are going to take a moment and review the week, to go back to last Shabbat, to spend a moment on each day, on its challenges, on its blessings, and then we'll come back together on pages 20 and 21. We'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to verse 9, I invite those in the sanctuary to rise if you're able and face the doors from which we entered, to welcome the Shabbat presence. And if you're at home, to turn and face the door to your home, to welcome that nishama yetera, that extra soulfulness that travels with us during Shabbat into our community and into our hearts. Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Shamor v'zachor, b'dibur echad, Hizrianu el ha'miyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'l'tiferet v'le'tchilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'elcha, ki mekor ha'bracha, merosh mikeren nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tefillah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Itoreri, itoreri, ki ba'orei, umiori, uri, uri, shir daveri, kevod Adonai, alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela.
If you're able, please rise and face the doors.
Oivet shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha, uvetzola, toch emunei, an segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Bnei Shabbat, nekabela.
may be seated. So I mentioned before that we are also observing Scout Shabbat, and the Scouts will also be sharing a reading virtually. And for those of you in the sanctuary, if you want to see them, you'll have to turn your head to the TV behind, but everybody at home, you'll see it on the screen. And there's also, for those who know Scarlett, know that there's a great affinity to Lincoln, and there's some connection to the Scout stuff tonight and Lincoln too, because it is Lincoln's birthday. Tomorrow is Lincoln's birthday, but we are also observing Lincoln's birthday this weekend, and so I'm going to turn it over to Harry Hoffman first, and then our Scouts.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let my Scouts come online here. And while they're coming online, let me do a short introduction to this. It's Abraham Lincoln, a true Boy Scout. The Boy Scouts of America did not exist when Abraham Lincoln was a young boy growing up in Indiana. There's no doubt that Lincoln lived the ideals of scouting to which this webpage is dedicated. Young Americans need role models of integrity. Abraham Lincoln is an exceptional example. Character counts. And with that, we're going to do the Scout Law with Lincoln quotes. So let's get started.
A scout is trustworthy.
Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power.
A scout is loyal.
Stand with anybody that stands right. Stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong.
A scout is helpful.
He has a right to criticize who has a heart to help.
A scout is friendly.
I destroy my enemies when I make them friends.
A scout is courteous.
Do not worry. Eat 3 square meals a day. Say your prayers. Be courteous to your creditors. Keep your digestion good. Exercise. Go slow and easy.
A scout is kind.
I care not much for a man's religion, whose dog and cat are not the better for it.
A scout is obedient.
Let every man remember that to violate the law is to trample on the blood of his father, and to tear the character of his own and his children's liberty.
A scout is cheerful.
Most folks are happy as they make up their minds to be.
A scout is thrifty.
A man watches his pear tree day after day, impatient for the ripening of the fruit. Let him attempt to force the process, and he may spoil both the fruit and the tree. But let him patiently wait, and the ripe pear at length falls into his lap.
A scout is brave.
To sin by silence when they should protest makes cowards out of men.
A scout is clean.
Character is like a tree, and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing.
A scout is reverent.
I can see how it might be possible for a man to look down upon the earth and be an atheist, but I cannot conceive how he could look up into the heavens and say there is no God. And those are quotes from Abraham Lincoln. I would now like to turn it over to our SPL for a couple of words.
I wanted to say thank you to the temple for supporting our troop and supporting the Eagle projects that we do. And hopefully when COVID is over, we'll be able to hold our meetings at Temple Beth Israel.
We look forward to having you back.
I have a Scoutmaster minute at the end of the service.
Okay. Thank you, Harry. We now turn to page 26 in our Siddur. And I'm going to invite Scarlett to come up and lead us in Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadav, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah. Be'ama divrei chirotei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon yuvyo mechom. Uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala. Uv'izman kariv. V'yimeru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevorach. Le'olam u'ameh almaya. Yitbarach. V'yitrach. V'yishtabach. V'yitpa'ar. V'yitroman. V'yitnaseh. V'yithadar. V'yitdaleh. V'yithalal. Shemei dekudasha barihu. La'ela min kol barachta v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata
Ta'amiram be'alma ve'imeru.
Amen.
Ask you to rise in body or in spirit. Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, page 28. And
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach, Baruch Adonai Hamvarach, Le'olam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever.
Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
page 30, last three lines in the Hebrew.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimchaleinu Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Hamariv Aravi.
Amen. Page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. Did you mean Torah for me? Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Last four lines on 32. Ve'ahavatecha atasir mimenu le'lamim. Baruch Ata Adonai Ohev Amo
Shema Yisrael, page 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Melchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We continue with Ve'ahavta, page 36, and Scarlett will lead us.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher nochi mitzavecha hayom olevavecha. V'shinatam lefanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'pshitecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shuchbacha, uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam leot al yedecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha. Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisarecha leman tizkaru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'lohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher tzei'ti etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, lehiyot lachem, l'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem, Emet.
Turn to page 40 for our song of freedom, Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha, Vaylim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Norah Tehilot, Osei Feleh. Mi Chamocha, Vaylim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Norah Tehilot, Osei Feleh.
Malchutcha ra'u v'anecha v'okeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Eli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch
kamocha, Bailim Adonai mi kamocha, Nedar bakodesh, Nora tehilot, Osei feleh. Nora tehilot, Osei feleh. Nora tehilot, Osei feleh.
Emar, Kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalo meyad, Chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Amen. Page 42. So we ask the Holy One to watch over us, to protect us, to give us a passion for life, to help us to have shalom, serenity when we lie down in the evening. We join in Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom,
L'shalom, Lehamidenu, Shomreinu, L'chaim. Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha, Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Amen.
Amen.
We give thanks for Shabbat. Join in singing Vishamru, page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini and Ben Israel, Oti leolam, Oti leolam, Oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, laso et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vesham
Israel et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ויום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We begin our Amidah on page 46. We'll sing the beginning together and then continue together as Scarlett leads us when we get to our Avot Ve'imahot prayer. I ask you to rise in body or in spirit. Yeah.
Oh, Shah, oh, Shah, oh, Shah, oh, Shah, Adonai, Sephatai Tiftach, Ufi Agid, Tehilatecha, Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomil Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevigulal Livnei V'neihem, Lama'an Shemo B'hava, Melech Hozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'zarat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKota, Rav LaHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'marid HaGashem, Mechalkei Chaim B'chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'rofech Holim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar. Micha Mocha Ba'al Giverot, U'mido Melech, Melech Mimid U'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
Page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Ha'el HaKadosh.
Amen.
Please continue silently with the text of your own heart or the words of the prayer book through 62, 63, and whenever you're through, you may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there. Shabbat Shalom. I want to echo the rabbi's words by saying it is just so nice to finally have real people here after so many weeks of just an empty shul here, and both three-dimensional and four-dimensional. So I'm going to play a piece from musical theater, very famous hit from the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Carousel, You'll Never Walk Alone, which is kind of a pertinent song on so many levels. Actually, in the musical, it takes place at the very end when Billy Bigelow is speaking from heaven. But I think you can make a case so easily that this song can lend itself to so many times to all of us where we're going through times of trial and tribulation and stress and problems. It's a song of comfort, a song of tranquility, of consolation, and hopefully something that we can all relate to. So this is You'll Never Walk Alone from Carousel. If I can play it if my glasses don't fog up too much here.
Thank you so much for lifting our spirits with that. Shabbat Shalom again. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all built altars to God to mark permanently where God had appeared to them. But the first structure built not to commemorate, but to invite. Invite an encounter with God. The first edifice built specifically to be the focus of Israelite worship was the Mishkan, the portable tabernacle that accompanied the people throughout the wilderness. Details of the construction occupy more than a third of the book of Exodus, including this week's portion. The Mishkan lasted for 40 years throughout Israel's wandering, and ultimately it's replaced by Solomon's temple, and after the temple was destroyed, in a sense, by synagogues and as the locus of God's presence in all the places that the Jewish people has lived. But the synagogue was never arrayed, in a sense, as God's private dwelling or apartment like the tabernacle was. Only one feature, at least one explicit feature, of the ancient tabernacle survives in today's synagogue, and in a different form, and that is the Ner Tamid, the eternal light that hangs here above the ark. What we know there is that says that the flame should be kept burning, right, in the tabernacle. It's not called the Ner Tamid in this sense, but this becomes the symbol of that. And the opening words of this week's portion, Tetzaveh, read, "You shall command the people of Israel that they bring you pure beaten oil for the light, that a lamp may be set up to burn continually." It may be the only artifact, in a sense, that has remained a part of Jewish worship for 3,000 years, evolving from oil to candles to, I'll go to electric bulbs, although even then they've gone from incandescent to fluorescent to LED through the years. So why has light captured the imagination of Jews as a symbol of God and God's presence throughout our history, from that first desert tabernacle, Mishkan, to the synagogue today? For one thing, light is a wonderful symbol of a God who is real, but not physical. We don't really see the light per se, the actual beam, right? We see its effects. We see because things are lit by it as it moves through. And similarly, we can't see God, but all we do see, at least according to Psalms, by your light do we see light. All that we see by means of God. We can't see God, but we see God in action. It has been pointed out that the four-letter name of God, the Yud-He Vav-He, is not really a noun, but it's a verb form, right? And when God is asked, what is your name? Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I will be who I will be, right? There's this form of the verb of movement that plays out. And Jewish theology has never been about what God is, but about what God does, creating the world, freeing the enslaved, sustaining the poor, comforting the grieving. And by means of God's light, we see the beauty and intricacies of our world. When we see acts of courage, acts of nobility, when we see the sick recover, whether due to the resilience of their bodies or the marvels of modern medicine, we know that we've experienced holiness. If light makes us think of God, from the eternal light in the synagogue to the light of the sun that makes life possible, then the sun's rising every morning should remind us of the God of creation, who called everything into being by saying, Yeor, let there be light. The God who, in the words of our morning prayer, renews each day the acts of creation. Light is security and safety. It has the power to banish fear. We're afraid in the dark because we don't know what dangers may be lurking, but if we turn on the light, we can dispel those fears. God as light is part of the assurance we need. Fear no evil, for you are with me. Dangers may indeed lurk out there, but we will not be facing them alone. And then light, especially light of fire, works as a wonderful metaphor for God because fire is a process of liberating the latent energy concealed in a log of wood or a lump of coal or whatever it is that is burning. And so too, for God, God is the force that changes the abilities hidden within us from potential to actual. And finally, light, which stands for God, also stands for our God-given intelligence. Think of all those comic strips that you've seen, right? Bloop, a little light bulb goes off over the head. We have a bright idea. And to this day, and Torah for us is light. Torah ora. Torah is light, and when we study Torah, we bring the light of Torah into our lives. The eternal light shines in front of our ark as an enduring presence, and we carry that light through our actions into the world. It says up on our wall, I'll make it a little more gender neutral because it was put up there a long time ago. It says, the spirit, the soul of the human being is the lamp of the eternal. God's light shines through us into this world. May each of us experience the Holy One through all the various ways light comes into our lives and into the world, and may we ourselves be that light and bring it into our world. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn now to page 253 as we turn our thoughts to all of those in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit. And as we do, I invite those of you at home to put the names of people you're thinking about in the chat, share them with the community, for all of us to hold them in our hearts, and those in the sanctuary will have an opportunity to share names of those who you're thinking about. 253.
Holy One, who blessed our mothers, who blessed our fathers from ancient days, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names. HaKadosh Malay Rachamim Aleihem Lehachzikam Ulrapeotam Veishlach Lachem Refuah Shlema Refuat HaNefesh Urefuat HaGuf V'toch Sha'ar Cholei Israel, oh bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names.
We ask for blessings upon Rebecca Gilman, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Toback, Rosin Lefkowitz, Ellen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Connie Shapiro, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Kathy Brewster, Jennifer Rudin, Marion Snyders, Kimberly Zimmerman, Brad Holland, Beatrice Caden, Meg Silton, Serena Postal, Bobby Kay, Marilyn Freeman, Robert Strober, Marilyn Lubarski, Ellery Einstein, Patricia Kramer, Bavini Feldman, James Cecile, Esther Bespris, Joan Morse, Nomi Kravitz, Craig Sachs, Simon Saul, Blair Pollock, Myra White, David Grossman, Daniel Brewster, Lori Snyder, Jeremy Knoller, Cherita Reyzadeh, Mike Klein, Lily Morrison, Reed Gratz, Sarah Coachman, Richard Handley, Barbara Fass, Jessica Calderwood-Kubel, Joel Beasy, Burton Gershman, Carol Berlant, Nancy Aiden, Janet Barong, Rabbi Stan Levy, Paula Steinbach, Sarah Truitt, Jill Housen, and
Kadosh Baruch Yimalei Rachamim Aleichem. Oh, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their name.
I'd like to invite back up to the Bima our president, Laura Zuckerman, to share some announcements with you.
Shabbat Shalom again. Here we are. On behalf of the board, thank you for being here online and in person. Toda Rabbah to Rabbi Kupitz for leading the service and for giving us a Devar Torah that was not only informative but inspirational in the best possible way. And to Cantor Bush for continuing to provide richness in voice and music. An appreciation to Dr. Randy Polivoy, who tonight played one of the most hallowed pieces of Broadway music that was, as you said, so apt for this time. Thank you so much. And to Claudia Gonzalez, who handles the tricky technology and makes it look so easy. To our outdoor greeters, Candy and Chuck Fisher, Art Benjamin and Gary Gilbert, and our indoor greeters and challah baggers, Phyllis Blackie and Sharon Sachs Regalado. Special thanks to our dedicated Scoutmaster, Harry Hoffman, and those wonderful Scouts who participated tonight as we honor what they learn and do as Scouts. And finally, to our wonderful Scarlett Vandergrift, who will become bat mitzvah tomorrow, for beautifully leading us in prayer. We are a very active Jewish community. Please join us in the many activities we provide and get involved. Check out our website, our Facebook page, our weekly update, and our monthly kahila, chock full of useful information. I want to highlight one special event which will occur this Sunday and next Friday, the 44th annual Interfaith Exchange between our synagogue, Temple Beth Israel, and Claremont Presbyterian Church. Such connection between these two faith communities only serves to strengthen all of us in these trying times. This Sunday, February 13th at 10 a.m., go to the Claremont Presbyterian Church Facebook page, claremont.pres, to join. Just put it in Google. Thank you, Cantor. To join Rabbi Kupitz, Cantor Bush, and myself, who will be there in person participating in their Sunday service. It will be inspiring and might even help the Rams. I couldn't help myself. Next Friday, February 18th, we will be back here again for the conclusion of this interfaith exchange, when Claremont Presbyterian Church clergy and lay leadership will join us in the sanctuary for our Shabbat service. So please try it, and thank you very much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Claudia, if we can pull Harry back up for his Scoutmaster Minute.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You know, we're getting toward the end of the service, and we all used to, when we were in person, like our oneg very much, where we could schmooze, we could have a little to eat. Well, I would like to discuss something called a balanced diet. I figure everybody knows the 6 food groups. They are bread and grain, fruits and vegetables, dairy, meat, sugar, and fat. Great, we all know it is important to include a mix of foods from all those food groups in our diets. Why? So we have a well-rounded diet that keeps our bodies healthy. I believe the same thing is true for our lives, not just our bodies. I can think of 6 life groups, kind of like the food groups: academics, athletics, family, music, religion, and social. If you spend all your time doing schoolwork but no social or religious activities, you might get very good at science, but you wouldn't have the skills to share your knowledge with others. If you just hang around with friends and listen to music but no athletics, you might be a fun person, but you couldn't throw a ball or swim across the lake. I look at famous figures that have personal problems plastered on the front page of the media. Maybe you can see what I'm getting at. Some of them have invested all their effort into one activity and neglected other areas of their lives. When they make it big, they are not prepared for the rest of life, and it all falls apart. Therefore, let's mix it up. Let's take a big helping of academics, a side of athletics, pour some family time on top, garnish it with music, have a big glass of religion, and finish it with a social dessert, just like our oneg. Now that's a balanced diet that will give you a healthy body and a great life. And that is my Scoutmaster Minute. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks, Harry. We're going to move toward the conclusion of our service. Aleinu L'Shabeach is on page 282, and then we'll turn to 287 for the very end. I invite you to rise if you're able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We take a moment to remember those who have been important in our lives, left this earth, those who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. And again, for those at home, I invite you to share names of those you are thinking of in the chat. Remember the recent deaths of Juan Madrid, father of David Madrid, Julius Joe Kummerman, father of Howard Kummerman, Beverly DePrisco, excuse me, mother of Max Retzlaff. Remember the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Beatrice Ross, Abe Abramovitz, Adele Grossman, Stan Helton, Herb Isaacson, Rose Claire Levine, Jean Shirley Wasserman, George Beckerman, Marilyn Friedman, Jack Hutchinson, Dorothy Levin, Ruth H. Levine, Saul Levine, George J. Levy, Annette Nallum, Ann Mendelson, Samuel Mooney Posner, Enrique Rubenstein, Isidore Weinberg, Lee Walensky, Beatrice S. Fish, Rose Lily Gingold. Hold on. I got one of those little itchy spots. Much better. Okay. Rose Lily Gingold, Dora Greenberg, Louis Grossman, Minnie Heisler, Burton Hendricks, Dorothy Krause, Yetta Lefkowitz, Robert I. Levine, Samuel Lichtenstein, B.B. Mullane, Gedalia Ross, Milton Shapiro, Marilyn Talve, Betty Wagman, Alan Arndt, Arnold Kaufman, Sidney Tickton, Myra Weiner, Maria Bannister, Martin Howard Bosworth, Howard Hyman, Joseph Kahalnik, Kate Kampf, Lois Yetta Kramer, Rose Sultan, Mitzi Sopkin, Anita Strumar, Julia Swerdloff, Martin Corney, Elaine Feig, Martin Nathanson, Jeannie Orloff, Fanny Stern, Cecil Wiley, Miriam Akoff, Zena Baumgarten, Martha Blumenthal, David Godless, Alan Goldberg, Jaime Goll, Moshe Judah Levy, Lisa Morag, Mary Lou Morgenstern, Morton Rosenzweig, Ethel Sandler, Simon Waldman, and if you're in a time of mourning or observing a Yortzeit on the Shabbat, I invite you to rise. And I invite the rest of the congregation, if it's your custom, to rise and embrace in support of those who mourn. And again, Kaddish is on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'bizman kariv v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei dukudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Ta'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories always be for a blessing. And we'll conclude with Biyado on page 321, and then Kiddush and Motzi from the Bima.
Biyado am kiddushi, ve'edi shan ve'ya'ira, ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira, ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira. My soul I give to you. My soul I give to you.
My spirit in your care.
My spirit in your care.
Draw me near, I shall not fear.
Draw me near, I shall not fear.
Hold me in your hand.
Hold me in your hand.
Draw me near, I shall not fear.
Draw me near, I shall not fear.
Safely in your hand. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. Ve'ado achiruchi, ve'tishan ve'ayira, ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira, ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, Zikaron le'maaseh v'reishi, ki hu yom tequila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim. Ki banu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, Ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim.
And for those here in the sanctuary, there is challah for you as you go out. There are also oranges for you as you go out. Yvonne packed little bags of oranges, so fresh picked. So feel free to take a bag of oranges home with you as well.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone out there in internet land, and to everybody in here. So wonderful to have you with us and to celebrate Shabbat with you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.